don't know if y'all can see this on my camera, but it is snowing on April 9th. It's actually what we call wintry mix because it's little beads of ice falling from the sky. This is not one of our pretty spring gardening days. Would you look at this day? Look at this day. I can't even open my eyes. It's so sunny. This is wonderful. Okay, mind you, it's 38 degrees, but we've had so much cold and wet and snowy weather the whole first part of April that we haven't had much time to work outside. And I think for the next 2 days, we're going to have weather like this. It's cold, but sunny, and you can totally get warmed up if you're working. So I think what I'm going to do is wake up the kids and we'll get started in the next few minutes. Donnie, lucky him, he's out of town doing a speaking event, so he won't have the fun that we're gonna have today, but I have lots of projects that need to be done. Maybe get a load of mulch. As the saying goes, you have to make hay while the sun shines here. Otherwise, it'll be June and it'll be too hot to work outside, and so you have to take these little pockets of beautiful weather and get stuff done. Because I don't want to work in the heat. This is really a nice temperature to work in. Gathering up my supplies, I found 2 kids willing to help. One of them is still sleeping. I'll let her sleep and she can work with me later. But I got my gloves. Oh, measuring tape and T-post driver. Let's see, where is that? This is one of those tools that I bought myself because I use T-posts so much. You can do a million things with a bunch of T-posts and some zip ties. So if I'm not making something permanent, that's what I use if possible, because they're cheap and they're easy and fairly sturdy. They stand up to weather pretty well. My first minion, did you get the lighter? No. He's going to be in charge of fire and dead stuff. He's going to put everything on the burn pile and take care of that. Then he's going to watch the fire so I don't have to while Ethan and I do some other stuff. I have 3 arches that I purchased the supplies for right when it got freezing cold and I was never able to come outside again until spring. So these have just been sitting here. Yeah, so it's going to be across here. So there's going to be one right here and one right here, and then we'll squeeze it in and put it where we want it exactly. brief recap, we've got 3 new arches. These are going to be where I put grapevines. I have one here, although I am not 100% sure this is alive. I bought this from a place where I could return it if it died over the winter, and we may have to start from scratch on this guy. This is a Concord grape. So I'm going to put grapevines around there, and then these 2 archways will continue to have pumpkins or other climbing beans or stuff like that. I'm thinking about putting a 3rd one right here for just general gardening stuff, and then my 3rd grape arbors over there. I already have planted, along the very front is potatoes, and then we have garlic that we planted back in October or November, and then this is all onions, and then onions along here to about right there. You can see the robins did do what I thought they were going to do. They came through, and where they were sticking up, they thought they were worms, and they pulled them out and just leave them there because they won't eat them. So I'm going around gradually. They were in such straight rows, and now the ones that I rebury probably won't be in a straight row, so that's annoying. But next, I need to finish my potatoes, and so I'm going to finish planting those here. But I've got to weed all of that, so that's my next project. And I found another minion. Hey, I've got a job for Essie. Oh, look, Katniss. Yeah. She thinks this is her place. She loves being out here on a sunny day. I just saw her rolling around. She was so cute. Did you see our new arches? We just put those up. Really? Yeah. Yes, indeed. What I'm going to have you do, S, is come in here and pick up all these bulbs that I've picked out. These are just wildflowers. He's trying to get me to let him go inside because he's trying to annoy me into it, but I'm not going to. Okay, so these are just bulbs that I've been pulling out of the vegetable beds. And we're just going to save them. We're going to end up putting them all in the orchard. You're so clever. You're so clever. Yeah. Oh, sorry. My goodness. So we're not going to burn them or anything or compost them. So I'm going to have you maybe get some gloves on. I mean, they're just dirty. That's why I would get gloves. And just pick out all the bulbs, and then everything else will be for the compost. They're these little things that look like grass. So some of them are still growing.
We don't have any flowers.
Right here, look. Some of them are still growing. Some of them I've pulled out. You're going to save the ones I've pulled out, and we're going to eventually put them in there. No, it's not grass. They're little flowers. All right, so you need a big bucket or something. You could just dump all of them in. There's some gloves on the porch in a chair.
Are they crusty?
They are a tiny bit crusty because they have paint on them, but otherwise they're not. They're good. Okay, it's been a couple hours. The sun came out. I completely spaced on a meeting that I had this afternoon. So I had to stop playing in the dirt, but my kids kept going. So let's see what they got done. Okay, I left Eli working over here by the raspberries. I was not going to get to this weekend, but then he was around, and so I was like, hey, give me some help. All right, he pulled out these, which are myrtle or periwinkle. They're a ground cover. I didn't want them here. He did a pretty decent job. This looks like mostly dirt, so when I rake that through, I can find the rest of them, and we'll continue the raspberries over here. So whenever I'm ready to dig up those raspberries, I'll continue the row. These are the ones that will produce this year, and then you can see we will get brand new ones. We may get late raspberries on those. This one has new growth, but then there are other ones that are like gray and white and completely brittle. I'll have to come in here and prune those out. Those are done. So you can see there's quite a few of those, but they are alive. These are the ones I transplanted last year. So I'll continue these going down, and eventually we may have to do 2 rows here. But as you can see, this is the middle of the day, and it gets a decent amount of full sun. So then I asked Ethan to do a couple errands for me. The first one was he took the truck, Dad's truck, and got a full load of mulch. This is the city mulch. It costs $5 per truckload, and you just drive in. You could shovel it yourself. We don't like doing that anymore because we realized we need truckload upon truckload upon truckload of mulch. So we don't shovel it ourselves. We pay the $5 to get it shoveled. And then he took Esther to go cardboard scavenging. He took my car. Isn't having driving kids so fun? Look at all this cardboard. So the kids are playing right now with their friends. It's a day off from school, and their school friends have spring break this week. Oh, I'm just shoving all this back in my car because I'm gonna have them, when they're done playing with their friends, come pull tape off of those and flatten those boxes out, because those are gonna go in the area where my pumpkins are going this year. All right, this continues to look drab and sad, but I can tell that things are actually moving. All right, so there's the arches that Ethan and I put up this morning. Okay, so these, see how there are three posts and 2 sections right there between the posts. All of that was just grass last year. So I put some cardboard down early, I guess early in the fall, and you can see that's breaking down really well. But we didn't get much more done because the fall hits and then all of a sudden it's winter. So you just have to stop when you have to stop. So I threw down all that cardboard, put some posts and other things down to weigh it down so it doesn't blow away. And I'm going to continue on this entire section. This is the best way to smother grass when you have a brand new area. And then we'll continue this pathway right to this new arch right here. So that's where all the cardboard's going to go. And then if we have too much cardboard, yeah, right, I'll rake out these walkways and then put cardboard down and then put new mulch on top of the walkways. That's probably the best way to use that. Set them to work, then got that call that I had forgotten my meeting. I was only 10 minutes late, but I was like, okay guys, finish up your jobs and then you can play with your friends, see if they're available. So they did that. Man, it was so cool of Essie and Ethan to go get that cardboard for me. Isn't it nice to have kids that can put their hands to the work alongside you? We do not have little red hen syndrome around here.